All throughout 2025, I have been locked in on tracking every single move regarding institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. The number one reason why is because of the amount of money that will be tied back to institutional DeFi. It's not billions, it's trillions. Now, on top of this, I have been following every single move that Ripple has been making, including the last 4 acquisitions that they announced in 2025. Every single one of them checks a box in terms of focusing on institutional clients, but also checks another box with XRP being included in every single one of those acquisitions. Now, I do think that that's all building towards, of course, the institutional DeFi portal that I've talked about for quite a bit on the channel now this year, because this is going to enable blockchain-based use cases for institutional players, all based around the XRP ledger, with XRP being the power source. Now, on top of this, we got another big announcement earlier this year, which was, of course, Evernorth XRP. This is the largest public XRP treasury company. They're going public. They entered into a business combination agreement with Armada Acquisition Corp. 2, a transaction expected to raise over $1 billion, creating the largest public XRP treasury company on the NASDAQ under XRPN. This got announced on, of course, the 20th. The main focus here is institutional lending and DeFi yield strategies with XRP. This is the first of its kind XRP treasury model, and it's led by Ashish Birla, who was a previous Ripple employee, actually executive, I should say, who helped build one of the world's largest blockchain-based financial services platforms. And the transaction is expected to raise over $1 billion. It does include SBI Holdings with $200 million, plus additional investments from Ripple, RippleWorks, Pantera Capital, Kraken FX, GSR, and more. Now, I bring this back up because we did get a few additional updates, like, for an example, this one on October 23rd, which was exclusive alert. CEO Ashish Birla speaks with Reuters about how Evernorth is on a mission to build institutional grade, transparent exposure to XRP and grow XRP per share through yield and market strategies. Again, institutional players being the focus. Now, we're going to circle back to this, but I want to go over to another announcement from Ripple, which is, of course, their hiring roles. Here we have from Diep San from back in October. I'm bringing this up because this was him pretty much providing us with a role that Ripple was trying to fill in Singapore. Now, this was a business development associate role, institutional DeFi role that focusing on tokenized real-world assets, stablecoin adoption, building partnerships to grow the XRP ledger. Now, this job is now filled. If we go to this, it's no longer there. This is a role that got filled. However, there's still 2 jobs within this category, which is New York and London, and both of them include, of course, institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger, focused on scaling adoption of tokenized asset use cases, as well as growing the ecosystem around institutional players. What's interesting about this is that they already hired someone in Singapore, which means that they are going to provide institutional DeFi services in the Singapore region. Next up is New York and London. But the main thing that we're focused on here is the fact that they're building with these institutional players core pieces of the new system, which includes, of course, tokenization, stablecoin initiatives, DeFi initiatives, all of these to scale adoption of tokenized asset use cases on the XRP ledger. And it goes all the way back to that institutional DeFi portal. This is all enabling those tokenized assets, enabling XRP deposits, XRP trading, as well as additional use cases through tokenization itself. That's why when we go over here to the tokenization engine that Ripple provides currently, it is all based around the XRP ledger to enable financial use cases in core areas around the world. And that's where we look at these open roles. Now, let's go back to Ashish Birla, because he recently posted a video on X, and he said 2026 could be the beginning of institutional DeFi. With regulatory clarity advancing, enterprise demand is growing. The next phase of digital assets won't be speculative. It'll be institutional, global, and value driven. Here are his thoughts below.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashish Burla, and I am the CEO of Evernorth, a XRP digital asset treasury. And so today I want to share with you my 2026 crypto and blockchain predictions. I got 4 of them, and my theme this year is really around how institutions, financial and corporate institutions, are going to start adopting blockchain technology at scale. So my first prediction is around how corporates, specifically their treasuries, are going to start using DeFi and AI and together to program and automate a lot of their back office. It's just a more efficient way to manage their operations, which today are manual and have a lot of middlemen. And using DeFi and AI, I think you're going to see a lot of those efficiency gains start to come to fruition. And you're going to see fewer middlemen and a better experience for moving money and managing your global operations in 2026. Again, using DeFi, institutional DeFi, and AI. Number 2, so we've all heard of stablecoins thus far, but you've heard of US dollar stablecoins. Well, in 2026, you're going to see local stablecoins emerge around the world. And combined with the US dollar stablecoin that's already super popular, you're going to see these challenge the $9.6 trillion FX market. They're going to use on-chain dexes, and they're going to build an on-chain FX market, again, that challenges that $9.6 trillion antiquated FX market that's there today. So that's prediction number 2. Prediction number 3 is largely around the acceleration of adoption of stablecoins from corporates and banks holistically. Listen, it's just a better way to move money using and settle money using stablecoins. You get real-time analytics into your liquidity positions around the world. Stablecoins are going to start making their way into everyday financial infrastructure, and you're going to see stablecoins grow from $300 billion to $100 trillion in market cap, according to industry projections. Again, stablecoins are going to start making their way into everyday financial infrastructure. That's number 3. And number 4, you're going to see NFTs make a comeback, but they're going to make a comeback with a twist. So you may have thought of NFTs in the past about speculative instruments, but now they're going to come back with a twist. They're going to be about membership access. So it's going to allow you to combine ticketing, loyalty, and digital collectibles into one digital access token. You're going to see sports teams, you're going to see entertainment companies, and you're going to see consumer brands use these access tokens, NFTs, to manage and combine both the online and digital experience. Those are 2 separate things. You're going to see these reformed NFTs come back and streamline that experience into one combined experience via an NFT. All right, well, what's the bigger story here? Well, the bigger story is that digital assets are going to continue to push beyond speculation and drive real economic value by solving real world problems in 2026. And it's going to be part of everyday financial infrastructure in 2026. It's going to quietly power how money moves. It's going to improve the operations of treasury companies. And it's going to change how we engage with our customers more globally. Again, thanks for spending time with me. These are my 2026 predictions. My name is Ashish Burla, and I am the CEO of Evernorth.
Again, when we think about this prediction, it's very significant because of a few reasons. Number 1, the FX market. We have been talking about the FX market for quite some time. And in 2026, it seems as though we will start to see that move on chain. Institutional players are going to be pushing a lot of the value movement that we see on a day-to-day basis on chain, with, of course, these distributed ledgers being the digital rails for it all. But more so, I'm very excited about what they're going to do with that value on chain, which is going to lead to, of course, institutional DeFi. This is a very significant prediction, and it's coming from a previous Ripple executive, and now the CEO of Evernorth XRP, which is one of the largest digital asset treasury companies in the world. If this doesn't get you excited about what's happening, I don't know what will. And on top of this, right, this is not the only big confirmation of institutional DeFi hitting these networks like the XRP Ledger. Doppler Finance recently announced a partnership between SBI Ripple Asia and Doppler Finance to collaborate in an XRP-based yield infrastructure and RWA tokenization on the XRP Ledger, advancing institutional grade finance on the XRP Ledger. This partnership represents the first collaboration between SBI Ripple Asia and the XRP Ledger native protocol, signaling growing institutional confidence in XRP-Fi. By combining SBI Ripple Asia's leadership in digital finance with Doppler's regulated yield-focused infrastructure, both parties aim to accelerate the adoption of transparent and compliant on-chain yield infrastructure. As part of this initiative, SBI Digital Markets, MAS regulated entity, has been appointed as the institutional custodian, providing segregated and independent custody solutions. This collaboration strengthens Doppler's presence in Japan and reinforces our broader mission to establish XRP as a productive yield-bearing asset for institutions while maintaining the highest regulatory and operational standards. And this is clear confirmation that Doppler Finance is also focused on ensuring that XRP becomes an institutional DeFi token, essentially. And what's crazy about this is like the XRP Ledger itself is becoming a powerhouse for these types of use cases where, we're starting to see tokenization initiatives, stablecoin initiatives, massive asset classes, and major markets moving on chain as well. XRP starts to become an enabler of that. And I think that a lot of these companies, like even Evernorth, that are starting to build around the XRP ecosystem for DeFi or even just financial use cases, they are going to enable such a larger network effect than what we are so used to seeing in this space. Anything that we watched in the past like 5+ years happen in this space, and that could be through stablecoin growth, it could be through DeFi growth. Imagine that on a much larger scale. That's the next phase here, because institutional players are now flooding this space. They want actual use case value. They want to tap into specific things, and Doppler, Evernorth, and even Ripple is enabling those things on the XRP Ledger. Let's not forget also the lending protocol that is coming to the XRP Ledger. That's going to enable so many big use cases around DeFi, including, of course, yield generation. But also, we're going to see a few other strategies enabled as well. Vet_X0 posted enabler for sophisticated DeFi strategies like cross-border corridor funding, payout liquidity smoothing, and even inventory financing. We are starting to see a much bigger picture here. This is clearly a huge liquidity unlock tool. This is crucial for institutions, DATs like Evernorth and PSP, payment service providers. No idle liquidity. This is an awesome thread by Ed, which we also went over previously. But all of these things are happening around the XRP Ledger. I don't know how anyone could be bearish on the XRP Ledger at this moment. And let's also not forget that Flare recently just launched a new yield product on or around XRP called Earn XRP, which, this is huge on the Flare network, aiming for 4 to 10% returns by deploying capital across various on-chain strategies, including staking and liquidity provision. Again, so many massive DeFi initiatives launching around the XRP Ledger, leading into, of course, 2026, where institutional DeFi is going to be the main focus here. I'm so excited about this. Ripple's on a hiring spree to build around the XRP Ledger. We know that the institutional DeFi portal is still in development. I would assume that goes live in 2026, along with, of course, the lending protocol. And of course, with, Evernorth going into 2026, with this prediction from Ashish, it feels as if we are, setting the stage here for institutional DeFi to go big. And it's going to go big on some of these networks, like, of course, the XRP Ledger, because they are a powerhouse for it. They are an enabler of a lot of these great use cases. So I'm very excited about the future here. I think every XRP holder should also be excited about what's happening here, because we're starting to see the evolution of the entire network in a much bigger way. We know that for years, DeFi has been a sleeper on the XRP Ledger. Now it's starting to wake up, and I'm very excited about that. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.